Well, the Indy 500 is this Sunday, and there's a big and common misconception that race car drivers don't have to be in good shape. But our next guest would beg to differ, and he's getting ready for the big day. So joining me now is IndyCar driver Graham Rahal with what it takes to prepare for the race. Good morning to you, Graham.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love the Indy 500. I was there a few years ago. It's a great race. What do you have to do to prepare? Because there are all these misconceptions about not having to be in shape.
Well, as a race car driver, I think being in shape is, particularly in IndyCar racing, as small as the cars are and everything, it's one of the biggest components to this. My team works really hard behind the scenes to make sure that the car is prepared to the maximum, the top level that it can be, and I have to do the same. So, for me in the off season, there's a heck of a lot of working out, a lot of running, a lot of cardio. I'm 6'2", so I'm one of the bigger guys. So weight is a big factor in all of this. I partnered up with Meta Health this year, and the Meta Health bars have been a big part of my success so far this season. Trying to keep weight to a minimum, trying to stay healthy while being on the run. But in IndyCar racing, if you look at whether it be the Indy 500 racing at the Milwaukee Mile, when you're going that long, your heart rate is up 180, 190 beats for several hours. It's physically extremely demanding.
So is your heart rate up because it's so hot and because you're stressed, or is it because your adrenaline's pumping like that?
Well, you've got adrenaline, you've got stress, you've got heat. Heat does play a role at times. But the physical factors of actually steering the car, the steering weight, there's no power steering, so it's not like your road car. It's much heavier than that, particularly when then you're going fast and all the downforce, which creates even more load, which is then the G-forces, and the G-forces holding your head up, trying to steer the car, trying to look ahead, all those sorts of things all add up. Physically, it's extremely demanding, far more than a lot of people think. There are no driving aids, to make it easier. It extracts the most out of you, and it demands the most out of you at all times.
So how important is your diet in all this? Because I think, working out, as you mentioned, is important. Keep your weight down, keep your muscular strength up for that steering that you talked about. How important is your diet to you?
Diet is huge, and I mentioned that I partner with Meta Health, and the Meta Health bars are one of the main keys for me. And then trying to make sure that when I do get time to have a full meal, something that's a lot of protein, something that's very light. I try to stay away from carbohydrates personally, and sugars, obviously. It's one of those things that's difficult to do throughout the month of May. In particular, we're on the run as much as we are, but diet is key. And I mentioned earlier that weight is such a big factor. These race cars only weigh 1,500 pounds. So if one driver weighs 50 pounds more than the other, that's a huge penalty to be carrying around. And so you have to make sure that you're on your game at all times, because everybody else is. All the rest of these guys. This is one of the most competitive racing. I think it's the most competitive racing series in the world. So you just can't let anything slip.
I love watching it. I love watching the race car. What do you think your chances are this weekend of winning?
Well, I think we have a pretty good chance, actually. We start 17th, which a lot of people don't believe, probably look at it and doesn't think it's that good. But actually, it's pretty strong. And, the Chevrolet is going to be hard to beat. The Penske cars, the Ganassi cars, they're always difficult. Those teams are difficult to beat. But, our team's coming off two runner-up finishes in the last two races. We're tied for 4th in the points, and we've been on a charge. So I hope we can have a good day and keep gaining those points and hopefully get a second win for the Rahals at Indy.
Would you ever skip pulling over to check your tires or refuel or do anything like that just to try and win it at the very end? Well,
you'd love to if it would work, but I think a lot of times, unfortunately, you can't really skip because you need fuel, more than anything else. And you need fuel and new tires. You put new tires on, you go a lot quicker. So it's all about speed.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck this Sunday, Graham. Thanks for joining us.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, stay safe.